Perfect. So let's move to the fourth business question. Now, in the month of June, what was the average occupancy across different cities? Now, in the previous analysis, we compared the occupancy across different dimensions, but this time there is an additional condition. We don't want the entire data set. We specifically want June 2022. So before calculating city-wise occupancy, the first thing we need to do is isolate only the June records. For that, we write this code. As you can see, this code, this is GF June 2022 equals to DF, bracket DF, then again bracket MMYY is double equals to June 22, bracket close, okay? So the first step is to create a separate data frame containing only June data. And that's why I'm creating a new variable called DF June 2022, okay? Now let's understand what happens on the right hand side. You see, I start with our existing data frame, that's DF. Now inside the square brackets, I write DF brackets MMMYY double equals to June 22. Now here MMMYY is the column containing the month and the year. Now the double equal sign is important. I'm not assigning anything there. I'm asking Python to compare every value in this column with June 22. Now wherever the condition is true, pandas keeps the row. Whenever it's false, the row is excluded. So essentially I'm telling pandas, give me only those records that belong to June 22. And I stored that filter dataset separately as df June 22. Now, you may ask why create a separate data frame, right? Now, this is worth explaining on camera because um, I think it's very, very important to understand why we create a separate data frame, right? Like why we create it and why we don't just modify it. So I still want to preserve my complete data set, right? So that's why DF contains all the available months where DF June 22 becomes a temporary analytical data set specifically for this business question. So you understand DF contains, like for example, DF as a data frame contains all the available months. But I want to preserve the complete data set. So what I do is I use DF June 22. I create a new one and it becomes a temporary analytical data set specifically for this business question. This makes the analysis easier to understand and prevent us from accidentally losing the other months. So why we have done head 4, you know it, 4 rows, okay? So this isn't a part of the calculation itself, it's a like validation step. Before moving forward, I want to make sure my filter actually worked. So looking at the output, the check-in dates are in June and the MMYY column shows June 22, okay, here. So the MMYY column is also showing June 22. So we know that our new data frame contains the new, like the correct period. And so moving on to step 3, we use this code group by city and occupancy percentage. And we do the mean, round, and sort values. Okay. So now that we have isolated June, we can answer our actual business question. Now the code looks slightly longer, but it's really just a sequence of simple instructions. Let's break it down from left to right. So first I'm using df June 22 rather than our complete df. That's important because the business questions specifically ask about June, right? Then we do group by city. So I do group by because I don't want one overall occupancy figure for June. I want to compare occupancy city by city, and group by essentially places record belonging to the same city into their respective groups. For example, Bangalore together, Delhi together, Hyderabad together, and Mumbai together, right? So, why we use occupancy percentage? Because after grouping by city, I select occupancy percentage. This tells Pandas which metric I'm interested in. The dataset containing several columns, but our business question is specifically about occupancy percentage, right? Then we do the mean, that is the average. So because adding percentages together wouldn't give us a meaningful city occupancy rate. So we want the average occupancy percentage recorded for each city during June. So then we do sum and sorry, we don't do sum. Actually, we just do mean. Basically, I'm just explaining what sum is. Basically answers how much in total, and mean answers what was the average level. So this is basically giving us the average of the occupancy percentage because we cannot do sum here as everything is in percentage. Occupancy, it's occupancy percentage. So occupancy percentage sum cannot be done, right? Then round two is rounding to two decimals. Okay, these are the two decimals. And then we use sort values, you can see, and bracket ascending equals to false. Now, by default, sorting would be like sorting would generally place smaller values before larger ones, right? But before the analysis, I want the highest occupancy city at the top. And that's why I specify ascending equals to false. So false means don't sort from low to high. Sort from high to low. This effectively gives us a ranking of the cities based on average June occupancy. So as you can see, we have the occupancy percentage and the cities grouped together. And yep. So I think Delhi has the highest occupancy percentage, followed by Hyderabad, then there's Mumbai, then there's Bangalore. Perfect. Moving on to the next code. So here we have again used the same code, just we have used a plot. We have used a bar plot to show exactly which is better because visualization is very important, as you know. So yeah, as we know, Delhi is the highest, Hyderabad second, Mumbai third, and Bangalore fourth. So Bangalore recorded the lowest average occupancy among these four cities, and Delhi recorded the highest. So what's interesting here is that Hyderabad and Mumbai are almost identical, and there's only very small difference between them. Delhi, however, shows a notably stronger occupancy level compared with other cities. So there's like roughly 6.3 percentage point gap between Delhi and Bangalore. So this tells us where occupancy was stronger during June, but it doesn't yet tell us why. To understand reason, we can investigate factors such as property mix, room categories, weekday versus weekend patterns, pricing, or other demand-related variables. Perfect. I hope you understand that's like a very, very simple question that we have answered. And this kind of gives the management a useful geographical comparison and highlight whether further investigation may be valuable, particularly understanding what contributed to Delhi's stronger occupancy and whether opportunity exists to improve utilization in Bangalore. So let's quickly summarize what we did in this analysis. So our business question was what was the average occupancy across different cities during June? First, we filtered the complete data set using the code df bracket mmyy bracket close double equals to June 22. so that our analysis contained only June records. Then we use the head to validate that our filtering worked correctly. Then we use group by city to separate the records city-wise, and we selected occupancy percentage because occupancy percentage was the metric we wanted to analyze. We use mean to calculate average occupancy for each city, round to 2 to make the results easier to read, and sort values, ascending to false to rank cities from highest to lowest. Remember, ascending to false means it gives a message to the code that to sort the values from highest to lowest. Okay, remember that very well. Finally, we will use we have used the plot kind is equal to bar to turn those numbers into simple visual comparisons. And our key findings, as you know, was Delhi recorded the highest June occupancy at 62.47%, while Bangalore recorded the lowest at 56.44%. So yeah, in this one analysis, we have covered data filtering, conditional selection, grouping aggregation, rounding, sorting, visualization, and business interpretation. Perfect. So yeah, I hope you learned something from it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll move on to next question in the next video. Okay.